Hear ye, hear ye. No David Kitchen is sure to sting on a week where the Texans face the King. But the show must go on without Soccer Dave. Davis, please try not to misbehave. The Week 8 Swolecast starts now.
Please don't dupe me, bro.
I'm begging you, don't dupe me, bro.
It's the poop narrative.
Kitchen's been waiting to say those words.
No.
For 5 years.
Davis, are you hosting? We didn't figure this out.
I think that we can probably do that. Everyone, we are of course missing Soccer Dave today. He is he's busy with the real life, so we're gonna miss him. Derrick Henry projecting as just the absolute stones this week, so he will be with us in spirit. Maybe we'll toss a Nick Westbrook-Akine in our DraftKings lineup, but it is a little bit of an odd slate. No Kansas City Chiefs on the main slate, no Buffalo Bills on the main slate, so that means out of the 3 good teams in the NFL, exactly one of them is on the main slate, and they are, I think, 11-point favorites. I've not looked up the spread.
Are you doing the Overzet overview right now?
No, I've not tossed it to you yet. We're just getting people comfortable.
You're doing too much work as the host.
Yeah, normally Kitchen just is vomiting a word salad right now.
Well, it is. I suppose we also don't really know what's going on with some of the huge value spots. Ezekiel Elliott popped up on the injury report. No practice for him today. Obviously, there is no beat writer for the Arizona Cardinals, so we'll figure out on Sunday morning if Darrell Williams and James Conner are playing. But Pete, I think it's time for Overzet's overview.
Well, real quick, we do just got to check in with Tuttle here. People are wondering, are you broadcasting live from the zoo, the Brooklyn Zoo? You traveling?
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. Honestly, I kind of had this idea that I kind of pigeonholed myself into doing a new background each week. Yeah. And I never remember until like literally 2 minutes before. And so then I just type backgrounds. And here we are, Brookfield Zoo.
I thought this would be a request from one of your 19 children that they wanted to see Daddy with behind a zoo background.
No, I should ask them for ideas. That's a good idea because I'm completely out of them.
I misspoke, as Clay said. I didn't know we had a zoo in Brooklyn. It's Brookfield. I just assumed it was Brooklyn. Where's the Brookfield Zoo?
Couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. There's a Brookfield in Wisconsin, but they don't have a zoo.
Lauden thinks. Where does Pete think the Brookfield Zoo is?
All right, I'll write my answer down.
Okay, I'm going to guess that Pete, because this is the vibe I got from it immediately, I'm going to guess that Peter thinks the Brookfield Zoo is in Ohio. Dan, where do you think that Pete thinks?
Well, it does say actually on the graphic where it is, if you look closely enough.
I did look closely
at that. He thinks Brookfield is in West Virginia.
You guys were both close in that I was going. It feels very bumfucky. I went with North Dakota. Dakota.
Wow, that is as bumfucky as it gets. It is in Chicago though. As a quick Google just got me there. Not a very Chicago-y name in my opinion.
You take trips to Chicago, right? Since you're down in St. Louis, that's where you're.
Yeah, I've never been to this one. I've been to the Lincoln Park one because it's like right there, but I don't even know where this is in the city.
Have you done the Shed Aquarium?
Oh yeah, the Shed's the best.
I need to take my kids there.
Yeah, they got rescue dogs in the dolphin show. It's great. Although the animals are probably pretty sad. All right, Overzet's overview. Let's see it, Peter.
All right, here we go. Yes, as we mentioned at the top, Kitchen missing Derrick Henry versus the Texans week and a 4K QB in cash week. It truly is a stunner. I have to imagine Dairy Queen is doing some kind of sale on sheet cakes that are 2 weeks past expiration. We will get to the bottom of it, I'm sure. We're all going to have to dig deep today, guys, and make sure we have a good show without him. I am saddened to tell people that the Swolecast took a bagel from Romeo Dobbs in our Cooper Tires free football throwdown contest in week 7, leading to another non-cash. We greatly miss you, Frito-Lays.
I mean, Levitan took the Dobbs 0 in cash, and it didn't seem to impact him very much.
I mean, the Levitan cash stuff is ridiculous. Be like, I played the worst of my life, and then you'll be like, scroll down, and it'll say 60.
And I booked a good win.
Yeah, get out of here. I took an L myself last week. I had to send Davis $50 for saying Noah Fant would outscore Cade Otton. I take zero responsibility and fully blame Derek Carty. But this, as always, is not only a forward-looking show, but it's the only first-look show in the industry that also fully guarantees its Gold Star locks of the week for both cash and GPPs. Dare I say week 8, guys, is an interesting slate. We got 3 games hovering around a 50-point total with the Dolphins, Lions, the Cardinals, Vikings, and the Raiders, Saints. We also get the Eagles back on the main slate as 10.5-point home favorites in the Pennsylvania Wawa Bowl. Sam Ehlinger is going to be the water cooler topic of the week. 4K sure opens up a lot. Tua is also going to be popular as well. At running back, yes, hear ye. At least we have Henry going in the late game, so we have 4 hours of bliss before he shoves it down all of our throats after we have to late swap off of him. Kenneth Walker and Ramondre Stevenson are both too cheap and will be popular plays. At wide receiver, the Aren't You Worried flow chart bros are terrified of this Cardinals matchup for Justin Jefferson. Let me tell you, Tyreek Hill is your obvious smash of the week, and everyone believes in DJ Moore now, and there's absolutely zero way he lets us down. The tight end position is so bad this week that Tyler Higbee is projecting his chalk at 4,200. We are only 1 week away from getting sub 4K Kyle Pitts, and I'm ready to play Noah Fant at 2,800. Thank you for attending my TED Talk.
Enough. No more. We have stricken Tyler Higbee from the record. Like, literally, don't, like, if he should, like, just do not be playing this guy in cash. Enough already. Van Jefferson is coming back this week. I'm already forecasting this conversation with Andrew Wiggins on Sunday where he's like, bro, Higbee's in the show. You just got to play him. And I'm like, bro, I'm not paying over 4K for Tyler Higbee. All right, so let's just go ahead and start at quarterback. I got to say, if you're not familiar with Sam Ehlinger's work, he does actually fit the exact model of what you would want from a 4K quarterback in cash. He is absolutely not going to hesitate to tuck that ball and run. I've watched a ton of him in college at Texas. He is he's not a runner in the way that like Lamar Jackson and Malik Willis and Kyler Murray are runners where he's like making guys miss and he's moving his feet real fast. He's more of like obviously not as good, but more of like a Cam Newton style, like quarterback power rusher. But the dude had 33 rushing touchdowns in college in like 3.5 seasons at Texas. Tuttle, if optimals are just shoving Ehlinger instead of Jalen Hurts, who is $4,300 more expensive than him on DraftKings, I really don't think I'm going to fight it that much. He is a legit play.
Yeah, this isn't like the Metten cash that we used to have with
No.
David. There are multiple paths to Ehlinger getting there. He was awesome. You mentioned it, college football DFS. He
really was.
Not expecting that. They might be a little bit more conservative. Indianapolis has actually been throwing the ball a ton, which probably going to scale back on that. They'll probably run JT more.
I've got them projected for the highest non-Bears rush rate of the main slate.
Yeah, see that. But that's kind of the thing, right? Even if you try to dampen it or damper him in general, he's still going to pop because he's only 4K.
Well, I'd look at it like this way. Would you play Justin Fields in cash if he was 4K? And I think you probably would. Like Fields is going to be a better passer, but I bet Ehlinger, I would, like if I go to look at props on Sunday morning after they've already been bet into oblivion and Ehlinger's like plus 180 for a rushing touchdown, like I'll probably just bet that. Like I just really, and it does feel like he had to have looked okay in practice, or I don't think they'd be doing this, right? Like if he's just been whelping around in
his
practice.
preseason was awesome, right?
Yes. Yeah. He was at last preseason, he was good too.
Yeah, so he's looked good. I will say if he's gonna be chalk, it's gotta be like the easiest GPP.
One of the easiest fades of all time. I bet he ends up, what do you think, Pete? 9% in the SPY?
Well, here's the thing, right? Because one thing that normally happens in these tournaments, even when you do have one of these cheap rushing quarterbacks, is people still like to do a skinny stack for tournaments. Do you think people will naked stack Ehlinger? Because there's no one you feel good about pairing him with.
Yeah, it'll just be naked for sure.
Just naked,
which I actually think in a weird way, like if we reverse this and Ehlinger was getting his first start like the week that Buffalo and Kansas City played each other, like you put Ehlinger in there and then you go Diggs, Juju, Davis, Kelsey, or whatever, and then you but like what game gives you that feeling this week? Maybe Miami, Detroit, but it's not like Goff is that much more expensive.
Yeah, I mean it will help you jam in. We mentioned Henry multiple times. The Vikings game looks pretty appealing, so it will allow you to do like a Justin Jefferson, DeAndre Hopkins stack if you really want to go that way. There are enough guys that are pretty high priced that you can jam in if you play them.
Yeah, which I guess would just be like a pick the best plays week, which I guess is all you need to do anyways. You just got to pick Josh Jacobs and Jamar Chase and print.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorting by I have Blitz and RG projections currently aggregated, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys, 9 if you throw Kamara in there that are projected for over 20 points, which is quite a bit.
Yeah.
So it's a jam 'em in week for sure.
So after Ehlinger, I know, Davis, you mentioned Hurts, but I would say of the other players that are going to pop up in a ton of optimals, Tua at 6,200 against this matchup with the Dolphins, he's going to be very, very popular.
Yeah, I mean, and it'll also kind of depend on if we get a value running back, like if Pollard pops up or whatever. But it's pretty, like I was messing around with it last night. It's not that hard to do Tua double, Hawkinson bring back, obviously depending on the status of Amon-Ra St. Brown, but like Tom Kennedy or Khalif Raymond bring back. Like it's pretty easy to make that work. I mean, you could even make it work with Amon-Ra St. Brown if you played like a min-price tight end or whatever. I think just based off of like Tua's not really run a ton this year, and if that game gets there, it's happening via passing attempts, I would probably just rather play Goff at a severe ownership discount.
I was going to say everyone's so out on the Lions when I don't feel like anything changed. They just had 2 really tough spots on the road at New England and on the road in Dallas. Like, I mean, Jared Goff was always going to be a front runner in these soft matchups in tough matchups. And now they have a pretty juicy spot here versus the Dolphins. They're also going to get DeAndre Swift back. He was back at practice today. Got to imagine he plays. I do kind of like the idea of you play, maybe you could onslaught this game, right? Like you could do a Jared Goff double stack with both Mostert in a Miami wide receiver.
Mostert's underpriced.
I think that's probably how I would play that game. Is I think we could even see the week 4 Millie winner where it was 5 players from the same game. I could see playing it that way. I mean, I think the issue is, Peter, specifically for the contest that you and I play in, where ownership really gets out of control on some of these chalky guys, is like you could see, I don't know, 8% of teams having Tua plus one of his wide receivers, maybe even more, which is like, then you're competing against like 100, like literally 100 teams in the contest who have like 3 or 4 overlapping players with you. Like that doesn't feel great.
Yeah, it'll be a more extreme example of the Dallas Lions game last week, where you're always saying, do I just need to cross out this game, or can I like dance around the chalk in it? And I played with fire last week. Like I had some Josh Reynolds, some Michael Gallup. I was like, some Tony Pollard. I'll dance around it. And then the whole game craters and you're like, what the fuck was I doing?
I actually, I actually think after going through some of that stuff, I kind of came away with the Dallas thing feeling the other way of just being like, if I really want to play CeeDee Lamb, I gotta just play him with Dak. Actually, go like deep, get deeper into those combos. Obviously, it's different with running backs. I do think that Dak against the Bears is pretty interesting because the Bears just actually showed that they could score some points. I probably wouldn't bring it back with anyone on the Bears. I would probably just do Dak double stacks and just hope for, equanimity. Maybe naked fields with Dak and Gallup or something like that, or Dak and Pollard. With Lamb and Pollard rather.
Tuttle, what do you think of this? The other game I know people are going to like, at least from the total standpoint, is Minnesota, Arizona. You think anything with Cousins, Kyler could be interesting?
Yeah, I think both are fine. I think Kyler's kind of interesting if you want to make some plays on their new wide receiver rotation. Maybe you think, Robbie Anderson will get more snaps. He's really cheap. Obviously can still do some stuff with DeAndre Hopkins if you want. I think I like Cousins as well. Stack him with Jefferson. I did see one comment I want to bring up in chat real quick. This right here. He's being talked up because he's 4K. I mean that's basic. Going back to the Ellinger thing, like we're not expecting.
If you locked in 9 rushing attempts
right out of your 4K, quarterback,
yeah, you're probably just smashing that button.
I just want to set expectations straight here. We're not saying he's like
he's got single digits in his range of outcomes.
He's the quarterback equivalent of playing Kate Otten or Foster Moreau, right? Like
totally.
The floor is there, but the ceiling is virtually non-existent, and you're just praying they fall in the end zone. At which point they're 100%. Like a smash. Like if Ellinger rushes for a TD, he's fucking smashing his 4K tag.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely, no doubt about that.
I had a question. We talked about that Miami Detroit game. I forget who the equivalent was last year. There was some guy who was injured. There was a receiver who just had, like, in previous years the field wasn't sharp enough to be on him. Is that Amon-Ra St. Brown this week? Is like the field is too sharp now where St. Brown's just going to still be.
No, I actually think this is an example of one of the few ways that the field, that the game is still a little bit beatable, because any really good model is accounting like 4 straight weeks of poor production from him, and his price hasn't moved a ton. But if you go look at all the individual reasons for poor production, none of it really falls on his like lack of ability to generate points. So I actually do think that, and he's priced so close to Waddle that I think a lot of people just go with Waddle instead in that game.
The thing is that people are going to love that game. They're going to double stack or play Tua, and then he's still the most sexy bring back on the lines. Like no one likes Hawk. People are afraid of DeAndre Swift and his injury stuff. I mean, Josh Reynolds bageled last week. Like he's still going to be the de facto bring back.
He's like 12% P-owned right now, which feels pretty good. That feels exploitable to me.
That one, though, feels like it comes in at 12% in large field and it's like 19% in the SPY. So
Jonathan Chang is asking, is Heineke or PJ Walker better than Ellinger? Well, one, PJ Walker's not really a runner. That's maybe something that got thrown out about him. But he, like, even at Temple, he was like a mobile quarterback. But just to compare rushing stats in college, he ran for 771 yards total over 4 seasons and 9 rushing touchdowns. That's like a good 5-game stretch for Texas, Sam Ehlinger. And then, but also Walker was 5,000, Heineke was 5,100. It's like a whole standard deviation away in salary.
And just to give you an idea, like this week, PJ Walker, and even a better matchup this week against Atlanta, 5,200. Cardi hasn't projected for 14.7 points. He has Ehlinger at 18.13. So 1,200 price gap and even more points. Like it's a completely different conversation.
Over under the amount of plays run in the Atlanta Carolina game?
87 total.
It's gonna be so bad.
It's gonna be like I would not play DJ Moore this week at all.
I spent my morning round robining DJ board PJ Walker overs on underdog. So that's how it went for me. They had him set really low, but it's going to be a painful sweat. Any other quarterbacks we should mention here? We haven't mentioned Geno or Daniel Jones in that game, both coming off another big games in the 5,800 range.
Well, honestly, I think the I don't have an opinion on the. I want Davis's take on Hurts because he's the biggest Hurts stan here. Is this like we get 5% Hurts on this slate?
Feels like Hurts is the Mahomes play from last week, where Mahomes was the second highest projected quarterback, but was 4% owned in the SPY or whatever. And it's not actually because people don't know what to do with Hurts. It's because they're worried about. There's the narrative out there that the Eagles really do calm things down in the second half, which is true. But hey, I watched Kenny Pickett play a game at a rest stop, and he was really spinning the ball around. I actually am kind of buying on Pickett, and I do wonder if they just for one amazing week at some point this season, they figure out like they have all those great wide receivers, Freiermuth. Like I wonder if 1 week Pickett just like totally goes nuts. So I do love the Jalen plus Devontae or AJ Brown. I actually think I like Devontae better here. They've got some offensive line injuries, so they were throwing the ball really short the last time they played in week 6, and then you're just using Pickens or Claypool as the bring back. But it's probably enough about quarterback. Let's go ahead and build a team. Should we ceremoniously just put Derrick Henry in this team for Soccer Dave?
I think we have to.
Yeah, okay. I think we have to start with Ellie and Derrick Henry.
The only way Derrick Henry, the only way it would have happened is if we did a build and all 3 of us got the first 3 picks and we just jammed the 2 running back in the flex as a total block before it got around him. That's the only way Derrick Henry didn't end up in this lineup.
That is definitely correct.
I do want to say there was one comment too. Like I said, I think we go Ellie and Derrick Henry in Soccer Dave's honor here because that's 100% what he would do. There was one comment, I missed it right here. I think it's the thought process is correct. The problem with Ellie and GPP is that you're funneling into the same pay up guys.
Yeah.
I kind of mentioned it though. There's a lot of pay up guys you can play this week. This isn't a week where we only have, 2 legit pay up options.
Saquon and CMC will not be giga chalk in terms of pay up guys. And then Devontae Adams.
People aren't going to jam in Cooper on this slate.
Totally.
You have enough receiving options with Kupp, Jefferson, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill. Yeah, there's a ton of pay up options, I think, on this slate where that's not necessarily true.
Yeah, I'm with that. All right, Dan, you go first.
Well, we're locking Ellinger and Henry, right?
Yeah, just in honor of Soccer Dave.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Sun God.
Okay.
I do like it. Pete, you can go next.
All right. I think both will be popular, but let's go down from Tyreek Hill and play Waddle. We'll play this. Or what would you guys rather do? Would you rather do a Mostert ASRB or a Waddle ASRB?
No, I like Waddle more.
All right, let's do Waddle.
All right, so I guess it's on me to find us a value wide receiver. It's a little thin. We got Wandale at 4,700. I'm going to go way off the beaten path, and I'm going to select a $4,200 Garrett Wilson against the New England Patriots. 4,200 is really cheap. Like if Zach Wilson became competent miraculously, he would be like, if Zach Wilson was good 2 weeks in a row and Elijah Moore is still not playing, Garrett Wilson would be 6K, I think.
So it's kind of wild that Elijah Moore is more expensive than Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was true for all of redraft season as well.
What's the Jets offense take is in general now that there's no Brees?
It's gonna be Carter. If Carter ends up not being chalk this week, I like him.
I do think you can sneak Carter in for like the one game before they fully integrate James Robinson. Let's do
my hot take is James Robinson is not going to be very good and not going to play that much for them.
I mean, the Jags were willing to basically give him away for free, so they had to have been seeing.
Ty Johnson is going to play over him, and people are going to be mad about it.
It still is a mindfuck, though, of how that, like, he performed really well those first few games of the season. Everyone thought it was, like, the story of the year. Travis Etienne was never going to happen, and they're like, yeah, we're shipping you off for peanuts. Yep. Anyways, is it back to me?
Yes.
All right, let's do if this game is allowing Garrett Wilson to score a couple touchdowns and win us a tournament. Let's put Ramondre in there.
Don't have to tell me twice. What a stud. What a stud Ramondre is. His team is just getting blown out. Quarterbacks are switching. Mac Jones is throwing balls into the Skycam wires, and it just doesn't faze him. What a baller.
It is like normally when we do our wish casting on these players that we like, it normally doesn't happen. Like we're not allowed to have these nice things.
Yes.
Like Ramondre happening feels like such a treat.
It really does. It's like once every 4 years you overdraft a guy by 50 spots of ADP and still get paid. It's wonderful.
Sosa, put in you got to put in Ellinger here
at QB.
We have with tight end, flex, and DST.
We need to figure out the defense here real quick so we know what we got to spend with. The commies against Ellie are going to be popular, but
I really like the Rams.
All right.
What if, or you pay up for Eagles would be fun.
Just playing a defense against Jimmy G at this point in time. It's so amazing. Like an offense with Debo, Ayuk, CMC, and Kittle, and you still feel like just when they need 7 points, they can't get it.
Do you know the only hole I can poke in this defensive play, and I think it's a real hole, is when Jimmy G throws his pick six and you lose points because of Jimmy G. Or when Matthew Stafford throws his pick six. And
you don't lose points for that.
They get the extra point.
The extra point.
Oh, that's right. That's true. Yeah.
So you don't get the shutout.
No, let's do it.
Okay, so if we want to, I have. This is Davis's terrible take. I'm stealing this from you, Tuttle. There is a min price tight end this week who is going to be 1% owned, who I legit think can get like 15, 16 this week.
It's the Giants guy.
Tanner Hudson, team sex, team preseason, absolute all-star. ETR subscribers will be all over Tanner Hudson probably, but he replaced. So if you just look at the snap counts, Chris Myarick played way more. But Hudson replaced Bellinger on all the long down distance and red zone stuff, and he's good. I don't know why he's never really gotten a chance, but I'm going Hudson as my min price tight end this week. So we can play whoever we want in the flex now.
I like how the state of the tight end position is, as long as you're paying under 3K, like you can't make fun of a play.
It's completely acceptable. Whatever. Yeah.
You could literally say any tight end under that's the stone min, and I would just have to be like, sure. Yeah.
Chris Manhertz? All right, let's do it.
This could be the Noah Fant week is this week.
That's what
I think I think the issue is I think he's going to end up getting real steamed.
You think?
So one,
Cardi's stats on it
Cardi's stuff is going to be all over him, which feeds into a lot of people who play. I mean, Cardi's stuff was on him last week, and then their team total is actually still fine. And you're going to ask yourself the obvious question: well, what happens if DK Metcalf is out? I bet Fant ends up being like the third most owned tight end in the SPY.
So with 8,200, I mean, you got Barkley, Taylor. I mean, AJ Brown seems fun. What are we thinking for this last?
Probably just Josh Jacobs at 56% projected ownership,
and he'll get 3 touchdowns again. I think AJB is the best one
alpha
here.
Play, yeah.
Otherwise,
we come up at defense now.
Otherwise, you go Barkley and come up off of Hudson.
Yeah, we can go AJ Brown, and then we can play the Patriots defense, which correlates with our lineup. Actually, Wilson throws a pick six, spends the rest of the game hucking to Garrett Wilson. Ramondre salts the lead away.
All right, let's do it.
That's actually nice. That could win the snacks and snaps.
We're back in the Modelo now, back to our Modelo roots here. Modelo 5K fight to the top series. There won't be any fight. This will be 200 of our closest friends shipping this one up at the top. Please dupe me, bros.
I noticed a lot of alcoholic free rolls.
I know it's
really who are they marketing to, bro?
Yeah.
All right, let's move to the running back position now. And this is honestly the most interesting development in fantasy football has become how unplayable the absolute studs at the position have become. Like McCaffrey for a lot of different reasons, Jonathan Taylor for a lot of different reasons. Saquon Barkley is not projecting as a super popular option because every week there are just like 4 6K running backs who project for more points than them. And has there been one Eno Benjamin is the only guy who's been Giga Chalk and has not broken the slate. Like it's like Kenneth Walker multiple times, Josh Jacobs multiple times. Just feels like every guy who gets above 30% just absolutely gets there.
Field's too sharp, man. They all watch the Swolecast on Wednesdays, and it's just,
Just
we're our own worst enemy.
I had
the 6K range is so good this week.
I did the like bad GPP thing that paid off last week. Is I did the Tom Brady double, and so the Mike Evans dropping the 60-yard touchdown right away just killed me.
What's wrong with you, dude?
And so like I know like if I listen to all the sharps, it'd be like you got to pivot off of Josh Jacobs and Kenneth Walker now. You didn't hit the nuts in the early slate. But you just
stuck to it and got the min cash. I love that. I love that. That's a real honoring Soccer Dave move. It's just playing the best plays.
Just stick with the best plays and get that min cash, baby.
So what we think the most likely, lineup construction is people basically playing one of Henry or Jacobs and then mixing and matching with Kenneth Walker, Damian Pierce, and Ramondre.
Not even that much, Derrick Henry. I'm telling you, the slappies, it's Jacobs or bust.
No way, dude. The flowchart bros are going to be out in full force by the end of the week. Derek's getting out
there. The Texans are so bad against the run.
Does that mean that Damian Pierce is going to be leveraged for like the third week in a row?
Of all those guys, like if you think of sentiment rankings, I mean, Jacobs, King Henry, Kenneth Walker, Ramondre, then Damian Pierce for just like sexiness, right?
Yeah. I mean, Damian Pierce has the best role in the NFL right now, honest to God. Multiple back-to-back weeks with over 85% of the rushes. Rex Burkhead didn't get a carry against the Raiders last week until the third quarter. Dare Ogunbowale caught 4 passes on the final drive, which is what a blast from the past. But it's like he's got like a 16% target share, and he's good too. Like it's unbelievable how good his role has been. I like him. If he's 15% again, the guy who I am just not wavering on in terms of chalk this year, like I will just keep playing this guy, is Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker feels like he is just like locked in to a 70-yard touchdown every single week. Although the Seahawks offense could really be pretty bad without Metcalf, I fear. I think it could get pretty dire.
Are they just like sun running to start the season, or is this real? I think that's a big
Marquise Goodwin just returned from the crypt to score 2 30-plus yard touchdowns last week.
And everybody's like completely sold now. Like everybody's done a 360 or 180 that Geno Smith is now like some awesome quarterback. I know the metrics check out. They're just sun running. They have to be. They're not this good.
I would say Geno was we got 2 things at work here. One is Geno was always a little bit better than people like thought he was. And now he's playing above that level. So he'll probably just removing Metcalf from that offense and replacing him with like D. Eskridge, it's going to be like, it's not going to be pretty. He's going to be back to like 6.8 YPA pretty soon.
I will say,
go ahead.
No, I was going to take us in a slightly different direction.
I was just going to say it's an awesome environment for Seattle. So I don't want to get that. Like they passed at a pretty high rate. Their defense is so bad that their offense has to do stuff. So I'm not necessarily saying Geno can't put up big totals the rest of the year, but he's sun running a little bit.
I was just going to say with the running back stuff, it is actually going to be fairly easy to know how to handle it with the late stuff because you're going to have Henry, Kenneth Walker going late. And so depending on how things go, like there's going to be tons of swap options. You're going to have Damian Pierce. You're going to have Barkley. You're going to have JT. As far as like cheap guys, you'd be able to do something with perhaps like Darrell Henderson, one of the Washington backs, like if you had to mix and match and then get up to a JT or a CMC or something like that. So I feel like the decisions like last week will probably be made for you of whether you can ride with Walker and those guys. So I don't even think it's going to be that painful from a decision standpoint.
I think that seems about right. I mean, can we play Jacobs? Like, is ownership going to be spread out enough that you can plan on playing him even?
He's starting to get higher priced at least, right?
I
don't know.
7,500, yeah.
7,500
Well,
now.
I wish I had the FanDuel numbers from last week because they did price him up last week, and so he wasn't pure chalk there. He's 9K on FanDuel now too. So I think we're at least have.
So you just got to play on FanDuel if you want. I mean, it's like this is what I'm thinking though. Is like, would I have played 2016 Le'Veon Bell at 50% owned to 7,500? Like probably. His role is that good. It's like unbelievable.
Right. Yeah, I think that's what people haven't realized is the role is so like people are like, oh no, they keep taking like the prior years where he would have the 2 touchdown games or whatever. And when you're like, oh, you got to fade Josh Jacobs chalk in those instances, it's not his role is completely different.
It's nothing like that. It's legit. It's legit like an unbelievable role.
What about we didn't mention Kamara. Is there anything there?
I mean, yeah, obviously, like he's got a Josh Jacobs-esque workload in terms of like when you include the target volume, but they're just so committed to not letting him score touchdowns.
It's so annoying.
You laugh, but you know that it's because they got to get Taysom the ball, and that's why you're okay.
Well, you got to rob Peter to pay Paul. That's what I've always said.
What's the CMC take this week?
I think he's a jam. He looked unreal when they were giving him the ball. I mean, it's like for him, it has to feel like getting out of prison. You know, you're breathing in fresh, clean air. The sky is blue. Like, just I feel like he was going for 15 yards every time he got the ball.
This is where, now that Kitchen's in the chat, we could say Derrick Henry flops and all of us GPP bros who play Christian McCaffrey late instead just get to victory lap it.
And it's also not even a spot where you would think that honestly, I think McCaffrey could have even gotten there last week on like 30% of the snaps had that game been even close, but the Rams are not going to run away from anyone. The Rams stink. So, and he would have had 8 days with his Stanford education to figure out this playbook.
Yeah, what was this? Oh, he was on the plane studying
the Schefter tweet. Yeah. Oh, so bad. Okay, wide receiver. A lot of guys who we love to play. Justin Jefferson, aren't you worried? Who's the cornerback, Peter, on Arizona who limits guys?
Dude, I've heard it's a scheme thing. They just double team all the wide receivers and then let the tight ends run uncovered down the middle of the field. That's what I've been told.
Okay.
Cooper Kupp. Totally Buda Baker in the safety there. That's going to limit him.
Buda Baker. All right. Tuttle drop. They used to have this is
a Patrick Peterson revenge week. Right? He's still. I think he's still plays on the Vikings.
Yeah. I really need PFF to let me log into the wide receiver cornerback matchup chart.
Do they still have that?
My Brave browser.
I haven't brought that up in a while.
Well, Peter, I think what's interesting is that I think the market is very clearly going to glom onto Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, and CeeDee Lamb. So I think I think that Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, Hopkins, Olave, like there are some guys who are projecting for like a lot of PPR points who are gonna not be in like the 15 most popular players of the slate.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get the vibe. I think Tyreek Hill is going to be extremely popular, and I think a lot of the other top end guys will be held fairly in check.
Yes, yeah, I think that's accurate. Although a constraining factor is that as of right now, there is not. We don't have a great value play yet. I would say if St. Brown, for whatever reason, I do not understand the NFL concussion protocols because they came out on Monday and said St. Brown didn't even have a concussion. But if for whatever reason, if he does not play, the last time St. Brown didn't play, they split the stuff up between Tom Kennedy and Khalif Raymond. But in that Cowboys game, Khalif Raymond just played Amon-Ra St. Brown's position. I would play him.
Yeah, I think Amon-Ra is going to be fine. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing under 4K, even worth discussing right now.
Marquez Callaway, Chris Hogan routes.
What's Van Jefferson's role when he comes back?
He is dead min.
Yeah,
okay,
and that's
all right. Maybe that's interesting.
What's interesting would be is if he's still on a pitch count or whatever, you're not really interested. But that offense is like begging for a field stretcher. So I think he is pretty interesting.
I can't believe you didn't get like some Tyquan Thornton.
I think he got priced up a little bit.
No, 3.8 boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground. Good play.
How about these two guys in the mid-range that project well? And it's like, if you told me I could play a DJ Moore or Drake London at low ownership, I'd be like, let's do it. But I'm not playing those guys as chalk.
I wouldn't play Drake London with someone else's money. No chance, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to.
Like last week was their one chance to fulfill our thesis that Kyle Pitts and Drake London would at least be okay in games where they were getting shithoused, and they combined for 6 targets.
They're so good too. It's so annoying.
That is the most annoying thing about Kyle Pitts. Like I could get it if Kyle Pitts was Eric Ebron and you just watched him play and it was clear that he was never worth what the team spent on him. But every time you watch Pitts run a route or get targeted, you're like, dude, if this guy was on a team, if this guy was on the Cowboys or if this guy was on, I don't know, even the Buccaneers or whatever, he would be just like destroying the NFL. You hate to see it. You got wide receiver takes, Tuttle. Any other ones?
No, I do like Amon-Ra, which I've talked about numerous times already. Hopkins is interesting as part of that game stack, I think. My terrible take is that Robbie Anderson's expanded role is enough for
he's
him
a great
to be relevant.
Play. Yeah.
He's 4K, so that's my terrible take of the week. Obviously, there's a lot of guesswork involved, but with that being a Thursday game last week, you would think he has enough.
What if he just plays Hollywood's role and Hopkins plays like obviously a much more advanced version of the AJ Green role?
Yeah. I think I think the range of outcomes is pretty wide on him for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if he's still limited on a snap count or whatever. But I also think the ceiling is great.
I mean,
for 4K.
How complex can Cliff's offense be to learn? Honestly,
I mean, based on last week, DeAndre was playing 2 roles. I mean, 50% target share is just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
It also, again, the fucking Cliff fake sharp stuff, bumping Rondale Moore to play out wide because you weren't
absolutely
ready.
incredible stuff from the guy.
Yeah. Kitchen wanted us to tout Brandon Cooks in the chat as well. He's been watching this Tennessee secondary who made Paris Campbell look like a world beater and wants us to jam Cooks at 5,900.
Chris Moore is 3,400. If you were really,
what's this Chris Moore stuff?
Dorsett?
Yeah, everyone wants to talk about Chris Moore.
I mean, Chris Moore is truly like one of the worst NFL wide receivers. Like he's been on like 19 teams and is not very good. But what can you do?
Yeah. So what happened last week? I honestly didn't follow that closely. Why is like I know Nico is hurt. Who filled in for Nico, and why is
Chris
Moore? Why is Philip Dorsett getting snaps out?
Well, they also so Tyron Johnson, you might remember him.
Yeah, they signed. He might be legit.
He was on the practice squad, so he couldn't even play last week. So they only had once Nico got hurt, they only had 3 wide receivers active, which was Dorsett, Moore, and Brandon Cooks. And then for whatever reason, they just seem like they're out on Brandon Cooks. They've not been doing the target Brandon Cooks relentlessly thing. So, it is what it is. All right, you guys ready to build a FanDuel team?
Yeah, let's do FanDuel.
Yeah, I got a heart out too for the UCL lineups.
Yes, same. Okay. Peter, you can go first on this one.
I was just checking to see how our FanDuel lineup did last week, and the Sunday Million did not cash. Spoiler alert. You hate.
Yeah, we've had a couple down weeks, but we're a forward-thinking show, so.
I think like part of me doesn't want to just have this. Can you imagine if a lineup we built without Soccer Dave won the FanDuel Millie? I mean, I think that would just be tough for him to handle, So I do have to sandbag it
emotionally
a little bit. Why don't we let's have some fun. Let's try a Jalen Hurts lineup over here. I know he's expensive.
It's always
let's make
easier
it
to
happen.
do. He's 1,000 more expensive than every other quarterback. That actually will probably help his ownership on FanDuel.
If Kitchen was here as host, he would say, and be sure to check out the single entry series presented by RotoGrinders on FanDuel. We have a $100 single entry, 33 single entry, and a $5 single entry brought to you by RotoGrinders.
You're right. That is literally exactly what he would say. Okay. Running backs are pretty important on FanDuel. Dameon Pierce, probably pretty chalky. Raheem Mostert, probably pretty chalky. Wow. Najee Harris, 6.6K. Never thought I would see the day. You know what? Let's put Tony Pollard in. Let's put Mr. Pollard in.
Oh boy.
We're just gonna assume.
Just getting out in front.
You're gonna have to send the tweet on Sunday morning if Zeke plays for our swap.
No.
We stick. We stick.
We stick. This is if anything, I'm rooting for Zeke to suit up to make this play even more sneaky. That's the gold standard here.
Love it.
I have something I want to do here.
Okay.
I want to run a skinny stack by myself, and it's a very expensive skinny stack, but it's FanDuel, so you can do it, right?
Yeah.
I want to do CMC and Cooper Kupp.
Oh.
I mean,
oh baby.
If not now, when?
And we throw I'm throwing Seahawks defense in just for the savings, just to see. We can change that at the end, but
okay, so that leaves us with 5,800. So we're still going to need to save some cash here for sure.
Yeah, we need some cheap guys.
Let's give Kitchen. So Kitchen we locked in his 2 plays on the other one. He liked Brandon Cooks. Let's put Brandon Cooks in this lineup. Can save us some money at what, 6,100?
He's cheap.
Wow, Brandon Cooks. Probably the first time.
It's not my pick. It's for Kitchen.
I was just going to say probably the first time he's been mentioned on this program this season.
It's a showcase game before they trade him. That's what I've been told.
That's a good point. Okay, so we do need to punt tight end here on FanDuel probably.
Well, should we play Goddard? I mean, we're going to need to get some kind of stack in here, right?
Yeah, I like it. I think that's good.
Sure.
I mean, I could have just started with the stack, but I'm.
What's our defense?
It's either Seahawks or the commies. The commies are fine too.
We'll do the commies. So we have 5,600 per slot for wide receiver and a flex. Does not leave us in the best spot.
What about George Pickens? A little bring back here. Player with some dog in him. 5,500.
He does. I think George Pickens. As I let everyone in the preseason know, he is setting the NFL record for a dog in him.
I'm so mad the Packers passed up on him.
Do you know what would be like a great tweet? Like if you had an actual X-ray and then inside, like by the lungs and rib cage, you put kind of like a shaded out dog. So it was like a literal dog in him. Don't you think that'd be like a really sick tweet?
I bet that would do numbers, Pete.
It definitely wouldn't be overplayed at all if you did it.
Maybe like a little like caption that says like, they took George Pickens X-rays before the game, and this is what they saw. Like, I mean, that would probably crush, right?
I think it would, yeah.
What does that leave us with? 5,700.
58.
I mean, feels like we could really drive into the skid here and play Pitts.
Or Drake.
Why you a double tight end with Pitts? Get out of here.
No, you'd go Drake.
Let's go for a cheaper defense and put Dotson in.
Dotson?
Yeah.
Wow.
Is he okay?
Are you gonna do a global swap if he's not good, dude? You gonna put out that alert?
He's fine.
Yeah, Davis is really taking a hard
line
on
he was almost able to play last week.
You don't want to just play Curtis Samuel?
Sure, so that's fine. Whatever.
Okay. I just like Davis. It's a lot of responsibility to put out a global swap to Swolecast Nation, and I don't think you're going to be doing it. You're too busy swapping your cash team lineups at that time.
It's true. All right, this is another good effort by the boys, I think.
I think it's certainly a lineup.
It does constitute as a lineup. And if you took an X-ray of this lineup, it does in fact have that dog in him.
It's definitely not the worst one we've ever done on the show.
No, it's not. All right, we got to do it every week. We do, in fact, have to talk about tight ends. Tanner Hudson is my terrible tight end play of the week.
Oh yeah, have we gotten an official terrible take from Tuttle? Robbie, okay.
Yeah, got it.
Pretty good.
Robbie.
Pretty good. Terrible.
It's pretty
play.
good. It didn't make me vomit in my mouth.
Peter,
all right.
Do you want to tout anyone at this position? It's like, do we think that we are like within eyesight of them removing, like doing like they do for college football DFS and just adding in an extra flex spot instead of making us play a tight end?
I don't think it'll happen, but it would be incredible. Maybe you do like I was trying to think, it was like a flex spot that's like defense / tight end, but then everyone would only play defenses.
Everyone would just play the 40% on defense.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the grossest tight end slates. No Mark Andrews, no Travis Kelce. I guess people Kittle. Yeah. What's the deal with Hawkinson? Is he going to end up being popular as the bring back? It's going to be him versus Amon-Ra for bring backs, right?
Feels like he probably will, right? Feels like that's the direction because people love to fill the tight end slot with their game stack just to get it out of the way. So it feels like he probably will be. Yeah.
Do we think, I mean, as far as other interesting like Uber punts, Irv Smith, Pat Freiermuth?
I think Freiermuth will be one of the higher owned. I could see him being the highest owned on DK.
Nice little bring back to your Jalen Hurts teams.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just I can't get excited about any of these guys. The only guy who brought me any joy, well, Armani Rogers ran a wildcat snap for the Washington Commanders last week. So if I could get a guarantee of like 1.5 projected wildcat snaps with Logan Thomas out, I could maybe go in that direction.
It's such a bummer, Davis, that hang on, let me see. Should we run back our Cade Otton versus George Fant bet?
George Fant is an injured tackle for the Jets,
Noah Fant.
The thing about Noah Fant is that I won't be playing him.
I'll run back our bet.
Cade Otton is Russell Gage is out, so you should not run that back. You should not run that bet back with me.
Yeah, I think Cade is such the better player.
I'm a masochist, though.
Okay, sure. We'll run it back.
All right, I got to get even on this Noah Fant shit. I'm going to martingale it. Luckily, I already paid, so it's not double or nothing in my mind.
Yeah, it was the only money that I won last weekend, so I was really appreciative to get that Venmo.
There's nothing worse than firing up a Venmo with the subject line Noah Fant to do this. I mean, just a great way to end a Sunday.
I mean, like, does anyone want to do the Kyle Pitts discourse? Like, if you like Kyle Pitts at 4,000, you're gonna love him at 3,400. No, I mean, if Dalton Schultz could finish a game without, being like the guy from Monty Python where it's just a flesh wound or whatever. Like, if the guy could just stay upright for 80% of the routes, he'd probably be a smash because Dak does like to throw to him, and it just feels like he's always the release valve or whatever. But they back-to-back weeks of one of the backup tight ends scoring a touchdown because he couldn't finish the game. But at 3,700, he's pretty decent.
Yeah,
I feel like this is the spot where Kitchen would tout Chig.
Chig.
Well, if tight end's all bad, just play Chig.
No. You know who we would tout, and I think you did a tweet about him. He'd be on Tommy Tremble after his score last week. That was
okay. That was one of the Soccer Dave tweets that actually was good, and it should have gotten more love.
Let's pull this up. Sosa, pull this tweet up.
Yeah,
so Sosa will be working on that for the next 5 minutes. I mean, it was
on this National Tight Ends Day. A gentle reminder that you can't spell Tremble without TE. I gave it a like because I thought it was actually a good tweet. I'm one of the 4 likes.
Amazing! Look at those likes. Real fans of the program.
Oh man.
Oh, good stuff.
This holds up. Good stuff, Peter. Good stuff. All right. Are we ready to get out of here?
Yeah, I got some UCL lineups to make.
All right. Favorite stacked together players. Could be a game stack, could be teammates. Tuttle, your favorite stack.
Oh wow. I'll go. I mean, it's expensive, but I'll do the Hop Justin Jefferson stack.
Okay, Peter.
Sam Ellinger to Alec Pierce. No.
Imagine.
I'll do the Jared Goff to ARSB.
That was mine. Goff, ARSB with the Jalen Waddle bring back, and you can use Raheem Mostert in that as well. Everyone, thank you for watching the only first look show in the industry. We wish you all well. We will continue to be the champions of the Modelo free roll for freedom, free roll on DraftKings, and we will please not be duped when we win the Sunday Million. We'll see y'all back next week.